Hi, welcome to COVID Homeschooling. So it's a lot to try to start homeschooling all the subjects. So I like to think of it like juggling. So I start out with one. And this is a nice way to ease back into like after summer break, like how you get that, your brain turns into mush. So you just pick one subject and it can be anything. You won't be wrong. Let's say math. So you pick one skill that you want your student to work on, like addition. And then you work on addition until they've mastered it. And then you go on to the next skill. And once you're feeling okay doing one subject, then throw in another one. So I like to aim for adding about one subject a week. And if it gets to be too many subjects, you can always back off. If you decide that your schedule is too hectic, it's not a big deal. But you want to get your kid excited about homeschooling, so maybe you might want to pick something better than math, like pick their favorite subject. Maybe that's science and you decide you want to learn about caves. What kid wouldn't be excited about that? So usually I try to pick something that they would really be looking forward to because it's hard to get them to switch from all the fun of summer to wanting to be back at school. And you don't have the same pressure as going back to the classroom because usually, everybody's got like their new outfits and new school supplies. And we do that a little bit here when we homeschool, but you just don't have the same excitement of like nobody here gets excited about new pencils. That's not a thing. So let's switch gears from what to teach to when to teach. In this, you have a lot of flexibility. You don't have to teach from 9 to 4. If your kid likes to sleep in, you could do school in the afternoon or even the evening. Or if you have an early riser, you can get it all done before lunch. You could do alternate days, like you could do science on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then social studies on Tuesday, Thursday. Or you could have things that you only do once a week or even once a month. Like sometimes we do music like once a month. We're just looking at one type of music, and so we'll just throw that on in the background every once in a while. And this works great for if you have a birthday or illness, you can take off the time and the days as much as what you need, and you can always make it up later. But if this gets to be overwhelming, you could just follow the public school calendar. But what's the important thing about this is to remember you just need to teach the things and keep a record of it. So speaking of records, let's talk about clocking hours. I told you that here in Missouri, we need to clock 1,000 hours of homeschooling. In 180 school calendar day, that's about 5.5 hours a day. But you set the schedule so you can do more or less days. Now, what constitutes an hour? 5.5 hours is a very long time to sit down and do school. So there's usually two ways that people will clock their hours. They will like literally write down like my kid did spelling from 12 o'clock to 12:15, and then they add up all the hours. And that can get to be a lot to keep track of. So an easier way is to say, well, it usually takes us about an hour to do math. And so you would mark that down as an hour. But let's say your student finishes up early and it only takes them 30 or 40 minutes. That's okay. Because here's a classroom secret. Half of the day is lost to transitions. That's lining up for lunch, passing papers, sharpening pencils, getting out books, going to the water fountain, all those things. And they actually teach you how to manage your classroom so that you know like the most efficient way to pass papers. Like we spent, classroom time sitting there passing papers different ways. So that way you know what's the fastest way of doing it. But you don't have to worry about that when you only have one or a couple students at home. So that's why it's okay to mark your day as done when you finish the day's tasks. And so we'll talk in other videos about how easy it is to start really racking up the hours that you need in order to meet the guidelines. So that's nothing to stress out about. There you go.